Here's the truth about how to start a dumpster rental business with no money. So, a step-by-step guide to entering one of the most overlooked cash flowing businesses without draining your savings to do it. So, let's get fair up it. The overlooked opportunity. So, dumpster rental is one of the most overlooked cash flowing businesses out there. Most people rule it out the second they see what a roll-off truck costs. The price tags are real, and this is not a business you can launch for a few $100. So, the way most people think about funding it is completely wrong. And that is exactly why so many walk away before they ever place a single container. Here's how people are actually getting into this business without draining their savings to do it. The key is understanding that you are not supposed to be buying all of this cash out of your own pocket. The equipment is financeable, the gap is bridgeable, and the business itself, once running, generates recurring predictable revenue that justifies the upfront structure. So the problem is not the business model. The problem is the funding sequence most people never learn about. Most people rule out dumpster rental the second they see that roll-off truck costs. That is the wrong reaction, and this guide explains exactly why. So, what this actually costs to get rolling. This is a bigger ticket business than most, and there is no point pretending otherwise. Understanding the real numbers is the first step to funding them intelligently. So first you got your roll-off truck. Used trucks can run 40 to 90 grand. New trucks range from 150 to even 300 grand. Most lean starters go used. Dumpster containers, individual containers cost 3 to 8 grand each, depending on size. And most people start with a handful, not dozens. Then you got your insurance, permits, website marketing. Add these essentials and total startup costs land well into six figures for a full build out. Less if you start smaller and use, but here is the thing most people miss. You're not buying all of this with cash out of your own pocket, and you should not be trying to. The equipment is designed to be financed. The real challenge is knowing which parts get financed, which parts require cash, and how to cover the gap between the two. So, how the truck actually gets financed. Equipment lenders will finance the roll-off truck itself using the truck as collateral. That is the straightforward part. What lenders will not do is hand you the down payment, finance your first set of containers, cover your insurance, or give you a cash cushion to get through your first slow month. The down payment alone, typically 10 to 20% of the purchase price, lands somewhere between 4 to 18 grand on a used truck. That gap is exactly where most people give up on this business model before they ever place a single container. They see the truck as financeable, assume the rest will work itself out, and then hit a wall when the lender asks for a down payment they do not have. Understanding this gap is not discouraging, it is clarifying. Once you know exactly what lenders cover and what it does not, you can build a funding plan that fills in the missing pieces deliberately rather than hoping the numbers work out on their own. So, lender will cover that 80 to 90% of the truck. You've still got your down payment, first set of containers, insurance permits, operating cash reserve to get pumping. So the two-step process that covers the rest. The gap between what a lender finances and what you actually need to launch is real, but it is bridgeable. Here's the two-step process that covers the down payment, the containers, and the real operating reserve. We got rapid gap funding straight into 0% credit card stacking. One of the most powerful two-step processes to get any business off the ground. Whether it's a dumpster rental business or any startup buying a franchise, step one is rapid gap funding. Unsecured money lending in 1 to 3 days with no lien, no collateral required. Step two is 0% credit card stacking, applied for once your credit file has been strengthened by the moves made in step one. So together, these two tools cover the down payment on the truck, your first containers, and a real reserve. Not just enough to get the truck delivered, but enough to actually operate through your first few months. Now, how does this look? Where that first round of money actually goes, when the gap funding lands, 1 to 3 days, the instinct is to put every dollar straight toward the truck down payment. That's the wrong move. A deliberate allocation strategy here is what makes the entire two-step process work. And what separates a properly funded launch from one that stalls out in month one? So pay down revolving debt. If you're drowning in credit card debt, a slice of the gap funding goes toward paying down whatever revolving debt you're currently carrying. This drops your credit utilization and frees up cash flow, setting up step two. So the most important thing about this is 30% of your FICO score is accounted for by utilization. So it's the biggest lever you can pull. Cover the truck down payment in step 2. So the next portion covers 10 to 20% down payment the equipment lender requires, putting the truck within reach without touching personal savings. You're funding your first containers. Your first handful of containers at 3 to 8K each are what actually generate revenue. Getting these in place early is critical to proving out demand, and insurance and operating reserves cover insurance while still leaving something in reserve. So you're not one slow week away from a cash crisis in your first month of operations. Now, why that pay down step actually matters. I slightly touched on this, but paying down revolving debt before applying for business credit is not just a nice to have, it's the move that makes step 2 possible. And on a purchase this size, a stronger credit profile matters more than usual. So your utilization makes up 30% of your FICO score, the single largest lever you can move quickly. Potential score jump, dropping high utilization to near zero can move your score 40 to 80 points inside a single reporting cycle. And this score improvement happens in under 30 days. One reporting cycle, making it the fastest file prep move available. Now, it's worth mentioning, even to do debt consolidation, you're going to need a 650 credit score bare minimum. You're not going to be able to pull this off with a 600 or so. That single move, paying down revolving balances with gap funding, can jump your score 40 to 80 points in under a month. That is the file prep step that makes step 2 actually count. With a stronger file, you qualify for more cards, higher limits, and better terms. Without it, you're trying to stack credit on a weakened profile and leaving significant capacity on the table. So let's look at step 2, 0% credit card stacking. With a stronger credit file built in roughly 30 days or less through the pay down step, you're now positioned to stack multiple 0% business credit cards. And this is where real operating capital comes from. And it is what separates a properly funded dumpster business from one that's perpetually cash strapped. So the numbers, up to 150K available through stacking if you've got a great profile in one run, 12 to 21 months at zero interest, applied to after your file's been strengthened and it's multiple business cards stacked simultaneously. You can do a double stack for personal and business to get much larger if you understand the strategy around that. The 0% stack covers additional containers as you expand your fleet, disposal fees, operational costs, and a real operating cushion while you build up your client base. Instead of hoping for your first few jobs cover the gap, you have runway, months of breathing room to land regular commercial or contractor accounts and let revenue prove out demand before the interest lock ever starts. Now, why this business model rewards a slow funded start. The dumpster rental businesses that actually work start lean, funded properly, and add containers as revenue proves out demand. The ones that struggle either buy too much equipment on day one or show up with nothing left after the truck down payment. This 2-step process is built to keep you out of both of those traps. So containers are repeatable assets. Every container you add directly expands your capacity and revenue potential. You can scale incrementally as demand proves out. No need to overbuy on day one. Revenue becomes recurring. So once you land regular commercial or contractor accounts, revenue is predictable and recurring, making this business far more fundable and sustainable over time. And proper funding avoids both failure modes. So most people either overbuy upfront and strain cash flow or underfund and stall in month one. A real reserve and deliberate funding sequence avoids both mistakes entirely. So see what this looks like with your numbers. So every market is different. Truck prices vary, container costs vary. The gap between what a lender covers and what you need to launch looks different depending on where you're actually operating. The 2-step process is the same, but the specific numbers, how much gap funding, how much to pay down, how much to stack, depend on your actual situation. So if you want to know what this looks like with your real numbers, head to gapfunder.com/apply and book a call. Link in the description below. The team will map the gap funding, the pay down strategy, and the credit card stacking against your actual truck and container costs in the market. So you walk away with your concrete funding plan, not just a framework. Head down there now and go and check it out, because worst case, you're going to walk away with a game plan. I'm Mick Wadley, founder of gapfunder.com. We're talking days, not weeks. The truck is financeable, the down payment, the containers, and the reserve. to actually survive your first few months are what stop most people. And that is exactly the gap this process is built to close. So step one, rapid gap funding lands in 1 to 3 days. Pay down debt, cover the down payment, fund containers and insurance. Step two, 0% business cards on your strengthened profile up to 100K for 12 to 21 months. Launch, start lien, funded properly, and add containers as revenue proves out demand. No savings drained. I'm Mick Wadley. Let's go close something.